Okay, see, it worked that time. And good morning. Good morning indeed. How you doing this morning, Cameron?
I'm all right.
All right. So, I see Sean Stryker with First Blood there. Patrick's with us. Good morning. Megan, good morning. Danny, Steve, good morning, guys. Glad to have you with us this morning. So, I want to talk about a little something called Public Square for just a minute. Tim, I heard about this because Tim Pool had the CEO from Public Square on, and he was explaining how the thing works. And so here it is. Public Square. I went ahead and set up a profile for us, and I'm going to do something we don't often do on this show. I'm going to talk a little bit about East Atlanta Video. Now, we normally, we do often mention that we do other products, that we do commercial side productions and wedding videos and that kind of stuff, and that's as East Atlanta Video. I don't tend to talk about EAV on the channel because I try to keep that business and the work of the more conservative, more politically driven stuff separate. Largely because I didn't want to alienate customers. What Public Square is it's supposed to be a social media style platform, but instead of being for just your kind of relaxing or cracking a joke or finding a funny, or for apparently 75% of Americans getting your news, it's supposed to be about connecting with brands that share your values, right? So there's a sort of pledge, and this is going to be something that I put in the recommended or comment box or something or whatever for Public Square. I don't actually see on the website an easy place to pull up the pledge and read it, but generally it's, hey, we're a company, we do business locally to you. There's right now I've got it pulled up not totally locally. I've just got it pulled up to the state of Georgia, and that pen is dropped somewhere near Jeffersonville and Warner Robins. That's not quite where we are. We're quite a bit north of that. But the idea is that you can go hit that shop local icon there and find businesses near you that have taken the pledge. And here, I'm going to click on this and see if it shows the pledge. But generally, the idea is that these are people who are not, you don't enforce mask mandates, you don't donate to woke corporations, all that kind of stuff. Like, for example, during the Summer of Love, Yelp and several other organizations actually went out of their way to promote black-owned businesses to the detriment of non-black-owned businesses. that's not just obnoxious, woke, and politically deeply biased. It's a direct violation of the Civil Rights Act. It's a Title VII violation. It's explicit racial discrimination.
Well, lamb's blood on painted door, and I shall pass.
Oh yeah, the big blue streak, so the FBI doesn't raid you for your nuclear documents.
Well, I was referencing the Bible and Metallica all in once. I felt like that was rather clever.
And I think it's clever if you paint the door with blue blood for the same reason today.
Yeah. That reminds me. Michelle Obama actually apparently wrote her great paper to be certified as smart from college.
I'm sure
about blacks should only do business with other blacks because it promotes black business and blah blah blah. And man, it just sounds kind of racist. But now you're doing it along ideological grounds. I get it. And there's part of me that's like, okay, but if some super woke wanted to give us $20,000 for a project,
oh yeah, I'll take your money.
Okay, right. Just so long as we're clear.
If you're a Democrat running for office right now and you want me to make propaganda against your competition, I'll take your money. In fact, I'm super happy to take your money. And if you are a good guy running for office, I'll give you a veteran's discount. So that's but yeah, go check that out. The local marketplace, and on Public Square, I've created a profile as East Atlanta Video, and I've created a Brushfire Mind group. So if y'all get on there and start interacting with people and looking for, like you need a plumber or you want to go to a restaurant where they're not going to frisk you at the door and take your gun and make you strap on a diaper to your face, go. Oh, and
make sure that your child has been vaccinated, not you.
Right.
Your child has been vaccinated. That's yeah.
Yeah, it's too late for us. We've already been fruitful and multiplied. They still have to sterilize your children. Moving on.
Hey, moving on. Can I just say something real quick? Espionage. Really?
Yeah.
And as Patrick said earlier in the chat, something along the lines of, so the FBI raided Trump's house for documents and ended up walking out with nothing but documents that had already been declassified. Tell me this is not a government hit job. And
well, not only already declassified, but it looks like all of the documents that were in Trump's house were in a room that had been locked by the FBI after he had been subpoenaed for what appears to be no reasonable explanation, and complied with the subpoena. And all of those documents had already been inspected, first by his lawyers to say, okay, this is relevant to your subpoena, this is not, etc. And then by the FBI. They had already been through the documents and found nothing incriminating the first time through, and then put a padlock on the door where the documents were stored.
Yeah, no, but this time they got him, Chris. This time,
I'm
Trump
sure they
is going
do.
down. All right, so in keeping with that theme,
I mean, yeah, I'm sure they figured it out. We'll imprison minorities. We'll start World War III. We'll crash the economy. Said shithole countries. Putin puppet. Kids in cages. Said drink bleach. Stormy Daniels. Very fine people. P-tape. January 6th. Let's just go over that real quick. The will imprison minorities. That's something. Like, where did that even come from?
That actually came from Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. It was It was those young black men that are super predators. Remember?
That's right.
They're super the same young black men that they want you to feel sorry for because they grew up in let's say suboptimal conditions because of the white patriarchy. Those same young black men were also super predators just a couple of decades ago when it was politically convenient to be, well, I think we could say vaguely racist, at least.
Yeah.
At least. Hey, how many pictures are there of Trump being kissed on the cheek by Robert Byrd?
Oh, none.
Fewer than there are of Hillary Clinton being kissed on the cheek
Yes.
by Robert Byrd.
Yes.
But they got him this time, Chris. They got him.
We'll start World War III.
Right?
First president in living memory with no new wars.
And will imprison minorities. Like, didn't he work with Kim Kardashian?
Yes.
And, like, deliberately gear the justice system toward letting small-time drug offenders go because it has a disproportionate effect on minorities? Hey, now do people who are guilty of gun crimes. If you really want to aim the justice system at a group of people and take the heat off of them, all gun control is racist and tyrannical and evil and unethical and unconstitutional.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say that all the gun control began when the Democrats were afraid that their slaves would pick up guns.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
I wish I'd have known you wanted this one first. I tried to keep everything in order for you and everything.
You know, it's cool, but you made that particular comment, and it occurred to me. No, this is the one. We start here because of that. Will crash the economy. Wow, how'd that work out for you?
Well, apparently everything's fine. You changed the definition of recession because, Chris, you cannot have you can't have high employment on paper and a recession. Didn't you know?
Right.
Now, granted, you and I have been paying attention to politics since we were about 16, so we're talking about.
I remember when Barack Obama got the unemployment rate under 8%, so that he could get reelected in 3 weeks.
Yes.
Really? You managed to move the needle on the unemployment, on sticky unemployment figures. Almost a full 2% in a week and a half?
I think it was a longer timeline than that, but your point stands.
Maybe a month tops. It was almost no time. But we'll crash the economy. Well, he certainly crashed the oil prices.
Said shithole countries. That's another thing about the left.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I was about to say, they've got a problem with truth. Like most of the refugees of the world are not trying to move to Argentina.
Right.
I'm not to say there's anything wrong with Argentina. I've heard it's absolutely beautiful countryside. But people are trying to run away from that region of the world.
Let me tell you something. If you've never been to a shithole country, like, I don't know, Afghanistan, let me clue you in a little bit. That designation, shithole country, is not just a metaphor. It's like San Francisco. They just shit in the street. You're walking along, and there's just feces. And you try not to step on it, like walking around in your neighbor's backyard where the dog is. Right?
Yeah, but...
and I'm assuming your neighbor's backyard because you all watch this show. You're good, clean people that pick up the shit. Putin puppet. Really? Because as soon as Trump was gone, all of a sudden Putin had all this wonderful funding for new oil pipelines,
which he used to invade another country,
which he used to fund a war. Kids in cages. That was Obama. Like, what else do you need to say about it? That was Obama.
Yeah. Yeah, and then said drink bleach. I mean, not even close. Some of these where you hear, use the orange man said drink bleach. Not even if you're trying to misinterpret what he said. Like, if you wanted to deliberately misinterpret what Donald Trump said, he said you'd inhale bleach. Like, you don't even have the correct lie.
Right. You lie badly.
And how's that possible? When you lie, you can say whatever you want. Okay, all
But
right.
plus, if you do it that much, you'd think you'd had some practice. So all that, and now we're up to nuclear secrets in his safe. I'm sorry. Okay. It would be one thing if we just changed the nuclear codes every time the football got handed off to a new commander in chief. But the codes, the football, the biscuit, all that security gets updated frequently. Like often. Not just when it's handed over. The nuclear codes aren't the same from I don't know what the update cycle is on them, and I would not say what the exact update schedule was even if I did know. But that update schedule is a hell of a lot.
Yeah, you'd imagine it's at a minimum
than a minimum a couple times a year.
I was about to say a minimum a few times a year, right? Like it's just because, they're nuclear codes.
I suspect it's more like once a month or once a quarter.
Yeah, that would be my guess. As and Alex from TPS Report has chimed in and said,
yeah, it's not a bank pin code. It's been the president's birthday since we invented nukes. Which president? The president. We just changed it to his birthday every time it hands over.
Oh, okay. Let's.
So now I'll just go back to the beginning, and we'll skip over that when we get to it. I love this one. I think I cracked this joke on the show last week when we were first talking about it. So hot, she keeps nuclear secrets in her panty drawer. That's some hot draws, my man. That's some hot draws.
Yeah. The last time I gushed over Melania, I got called a creep, so I'm going to reserve comment for this one.
I mean, she's hot. It ain't complicated. She speaks 9 languages or some shit.
And she looks
That's
like
hot.
that, and she managed to apparently marry a president, so she's doing something right.
So, FBI and DOJ going in for the sniff test because with President Biden in the White House, that's probably how it's determined.
Yeah, and there are people like Dan Bongino who have said that the warrant was so deliberately overbroad. Anybody that has experience in executing warrants for the federal government and is willing to put their partisanship aside and just look at it as, okay, I'm a guy that's done this before, so I can read between the lines. This was basically a big screw you. We can look at whatever we want.
Yeah.
We're fishing.
Well, and so they're fishing, and they went while Trump and his family weren't there. And then while they were there, Trump's representatives and lawyers who were there were denied access. They weren't allowed to watch. Okay. Quick tip. We've covered the don't talk to cops thing on this show many, many times. Don't talk to cops. And if a cop decides that he gets to search your whatever, your house, your car, etc., and you're not allowed to watch him do it, 100% guaranteed he's planting evidence. And here's why I say it that way. It's just like the lie that every firearm is loaded. The fact of the matter is that not every firearm is in fact loaded. But if you don't treat every firearm always and everywhere as if it is loaded, then the one time you're wrong, it's going to bite you in the ass. That's when you shoot yourself in the foot. So there may, I'm not even willing anymore to say there are good cops out there. There may still be good cops out there, but they are so apparently in the minority that if you treat any cop like he's not an absolute corrupt bag of shit who is out to murder you through force of law, then when you get your dick in a bind over that, that's on you because you should have been paying attention. You have to treat every cop like he's dirty.
Pit Danny says, I don't use that brand of baggies for my dope. That would be a hell of a defense. Be like, no, that's not mine. When I buy weed, I only use Ziploc, my man. Anyhow.
Anarchy makes a point. If there were good cops, there would be no bad cops. And that is actually a good point.
That's actually something it would require quite a bit of discussion, but
well, I'll just say this about it. Being a good cop, it is not sufficient to be a good cop that you are just not a bad cop, because the job of a cop is to fight crime. So if as a good cop, you aren't actively busting the bad cops around you, you're complicit. You essentially, it's like when we talked about the gay rights activists a few weeks ago, and Steve had said, "Well, I know a lot of gay couples that were only ever interested in the marriage issue, and they just don't talk about the thing." It's not that those are bad people; it's that they don't matter because they don't change anything. They don't make a difference. They are existentially nil.
So Papa Sheepdog, actually, I've talked to him about that exact concept. God rest his soul. But he said the problem with bad cops is they're good at being bad cops. And just like you've got, in theory, you've got to have evidence to bring somebody down. Well, bad cops are really good at engineering situations where evidence against them is difficult to make stick because they've got the dual track. They know how to manipulate the system. So, but anyhow, I think your larger point about being able to trust the government in general, and in this case in particular the FBI, what do you mean I can't watch you go through my shit?
Yeah, sorry, it's my shit.
Anyhow, hey, here's another one we could have started on.
Yeah. I mean, the first time a Democrat hears the MSM say they have information that will totally bring down Trump. Remember, like the whole period from the time he was elected to the time he left office, it was just like every day we'd hear the walls are closing in. We've got him this time.
Yeah, I think that's your children.
Jesus Christ.
I think that one's upset about something.
I think you're right.
The 4,680...
Eleanor's been going through a bit of a phase. It mostly involves stomping and kicking.
Yes, and terrible twos. But she's 3.
Yeah. Hard to swallow pills.
Oh, I didn't mean to put this one here. I meant to put it closer to the end, but...
Oh, well.
But we'll still take it.
Hard to swallow pills. Just because you're unattractive and have no friends doesn't mean you're another gender. And it certainly doesn't mean that you're some kind of other kin. Yeah, do y'all know about the other kin thing? That might be worth a whole show someday. Just, I'll tell you the story sometime of the first time I learned what a furry is. And it alarmed me. Marked safe from FBI raids today.
I know we've all seen this meme, and we've all at least seen this picture. And I've heard people say, well, Hunter Biden has no governmental power, so he's just not on the same plane as Donald Trump. And I'd be willing to accept that premise if it weren't for the laptop that refers to Joe Biden as the big guy.
That explicitly ties the two of them together in the commission of active crimes.
And there's a reason why
many of which occurred while Biden was vice president and appear to be ongoing now that Biden is president, were ongoing throughout the period in which he was not in office. And during the time that Donald Trump was in office, the lefties went after all of Trump's children on, well, I mean, let's be real and flippant, trumped up charges. They kept making up crimes to go after Trump's kids on. And
well, that's how they broke General Flynn.
Like, this meme is a picture of Hunter Biden committing a crime.
We're talking about a guy that used to routinely selfie himself doing drugs while naked. I think at the very least we can assume he's a national security risk, given the fact that he's the president's only surviving son. And I'm serious. It's the way they broke General Flynn. It wasn't enough that they bankrupted him. No.
Right. No.
Now they were going to start going after his kids.
Correct.
And so Flynn said, fine, I'll take a plea deal. Don't fuck my children over.
But as we've learned from Disney and the like, fucking your children is what the left does. That's what they want.
Did not even mean to set you up for that.
And, damn, I had a whole other point that I was going to make related to this off of that one meme there.
You know what? It's fine.
And it escaped me.
We have more memes.
Damn.
And we have to. And
it was really good, too.
And we promised Legion that we would get to. That we would get to certain memes.
This is the Blue Anon conspiracy group.
I mean, this is just a reiteration of some other points we've already covered, but it was just too good.
We already hit that one. That's I'm gonna grant that's actually some brilliant Photoshop, and I don't just mean that the memetics here are brilliant.
No, the Photoshop is good.
See how the shoulder overlaps here and here, and it's actually really quality Photoshop work.
Well, they live rent free in his. They live. They live rent free. Trump lives rent free in their heads. And here's the thing: Trump's outside of his core audience, enthusiasm for Trump had actually started to track down. There were people that were like, okay, fine, maybe we need to try and draft DeSantis, or maybe it's time to give Cruz a second shot, or maybe it's time to give Rand Paul a second shot.
Boy, not anymore. This FBI raid has skyrocketed.
I've been deliberately listening to Eric Erickson on WSB, and people call into his show every day that say, I was done with Trump, and then this happened, and now I don't know how I've got any choice other than to vote for him.
Right.
Just to tell the system, screw you.
And I'm glad that's happening on Erickson's show, because he was one of those shitbag
in
never
2016,
Trumpers.
in 2020, he voted for him. Full context. He was never Trumper in 2016. But
we've talked about why I don't have a whole lot of grace in my heart for those guys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in 2016, people like Eric Erickson said, no, Hillary Clinton is not worse than Donald Trump. Or something to the effect of, I dislike Donald Trump enough that I'm willing to burn the country down and put Hillary Clinton in power, whose clear objective is to engage in World War III, so that I can pretend to stand on principles. You don't have principles when you are the king of a burnt kingdom.
So this meme is a fantastic illustration of the left can't meme, because the left is the meme. There are people that believe Donald Trump was flushing documents down the toilet while the FBI was raiding his Mar-A-Lago residence. They don't understand that he wasn't in the state. Okay, he was 1,000 miles away.
Yeah, wasn't he in New Jersey? He wasn't even in the country.
But the original reference that supposedly he was flushing documents down the toilet refers to an incident, a totally separate incident that happened in the White House. And the left is so... Golly, I mean, talk about being so deep in the cave, you can't even see the shadows. Patrick's leaving us. Have a good day, Pat.
Be safe out there, brother.
So, yeah, it's... But it's funny.
It is that. I have no comment. That's actually perfect, just because of how very triggered. I don't even know what this is from, honestly. Do you know what movie? This is from some movie. I've seen the meme 1,000 times. I don't know where the...
I thought it was a mashup of some stuff from the Real Housewives.
Is that what it is? Okay. So,
Come on, man, that's funny.
The smile is what really sells the gag.
Apparently, there's not enough there to gag on.
I could colorize that shit in Photoshop, and it would hurt your soul.
You know, there's a thing where we'll take on clients and they'll say, hey, I want all the pictures from my shoot, or I want all the raw video from my shoot. No. And I promise this picture from AOC that has been memed to death is why you don't want all of the raw data from your shoot. Okay? Sometimes you really don't want to know how the sausage is made. But that's funny. That's funny.
Oh.
There are versions of this that have captions, but I didn't think it needed it. I think it just...
Yeah.
But hey, look, here's the FBI after they raid Mar-A-Lago.
It's a brand new OnlyFeds account. And yeah, we've covered this several times already. The FBI has, as an institution, a history, and I don't mean a long history going back decades and decades all the way to the founding of the institution, which is also true. But very publicly in recent memory, on multiple occasions, Russiagate, Ukrainegate, the Rittenhouse case, etc. And I could keep Gretchen Whitmer, I could keep going, January 6th, etc. They've been caught out very publicly, not in tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, but in courts of law, caught out fabricating evidence to try and alter the outcomes of cases.
Hey, I see a new name, Earning Tie. Good morning.
Good morning.
You caught us right here at the end. But,
you're late, but tomorrow morning we start at 07:30 Eastern Standard Time on the U.S. East Coast, and we'd love to have you when we pop up.
And then there's one more.
There's just one more. I don't think I get to go to it with the arrows.
Nope, you can't go to it with the arrow.
Nope. I have to threaten the thread there. Don't ask why you need an AR-15. Ask why an IRS agent needs one. More importantly, ask why an IRS agent with no qualifications needs one. Okay, I mean, that's not fair. It's not a zero qualification job. I mean, the qualifications do include things like you have to be willing to carry an AR-15 and you have to be willing to kill American citizens.
Over money.
Over small amounts of money, by the way. We're not talking about...
In overtime. You got to be willing to work overtime.
You've got to be able to put in your overtime hours killing American citizens over inconsequential sums of money.
Man, I've said it before. I sincerely believe that this is like the perfect trap, and I've heard other commentators express this point more or less in their own way. But I think any small business that survived the shutdown...
Yeah.
Because look, here's the thing.
Yeah, they're absolutely mortified and sad.
My dad. Right. So my dad, Papa Sheepdog, was actually audited one time, and I was like, "But Dad, didn't you do it right?" And he was like, "Oh God, son, it does not matter." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I've already accepted that they're going to find something, and I'm going to have to pay them. Yep. And if I don't agree to pay them, they can legally reach into my bank account and just take the money anyway.
And if there's not enough money there, they could just shoot you and take your house."
Yes, exactly. And so small businesses in particular already kind of live on some weird margins. Like, it's surprising. You're like, really? I could take a deduction for this? Okay, sure.
Today is, I think, the one-year anniversary of Joe Biden abandoning Americans in Afghanistan. Alex, you are correct. And the White House actually... You got anywhere to be right after the show? Because I got a little time. If you want to do another segment, are you down?
Well, hold on. Let me finish what I was saying.
Do.
I sincerely believe that it's not just the fact that they want to go over conservative folks like you and I. Because it is. But I think small businesses in general are under threat. And, oh, I'm sorry. Did you take out a second mortgage on your house and take no profit for 2 years to open up that little bar that you've been dreaming of since you were 19 years old?
Where you've made payroll every week and taken care of your employees, but you're living on ramen noodles for the first 2 years to get to profit.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Oh, and then you had to cut a couple corners to not have to close your doors during the pandemic? Gotcha, bitch. How dare you cheat the federal government? Screw the fact that the federal government cheated you and locked the world down over a virus with a sub 1% death rate.
And here's what they're going to... There's another piece of this, too. A lot of those small businesses took PPE loans and ARP loans and stuff like that. The various... COVID-19 bailouts, stimulus packages, etc. And those loans, many of them had a set of strict criteria, which, if met, would allow you to have the loan forgiven. How much you want to bet that many of these new IRS agents are going to go through all of those forgiven loans with a fine-tooth comb? And they're going to look for businesses that are the kind of businesses that might list themselves on public square. And they're going to look at their forgiven loans real careful and then go back and say, nope, you forgot to dot this I or cross this T. And so you're going to have to pay back $500,000. But I only borrowed $20,000 to make payroll 1 month. Yeah, that's going to be 500 G's, or asset forfeiture.
Yeah, or we just straight up take your bar.
They will straight up auction off all the property in your property to recover a debt that they manufactured on you.
I saw that happen one time. I forget what it's called now, but it was the Buckhead Steakhouse over up by the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know why it changed names?
Because it got eaten by a tax auction?
Yes, the owner of the company, it turns out he was doing something where he was just straight up not paying his portion of the payroll taxes for all some 120 servers that worked for his 4 restaurants. And was taking that money and spending it on business expenses. Right? So, and he'd been doing it for years. And apparently one day he came home, like driving his, I forget if it was like a Camaro or a Ferrari. And there were spooks at his house. And one of the first things they told him was, oh, good, you're here. We need the keys to that because it's one of the first things we're going to auction.
Wow. Yep. So.
They let him keep his house, but apparently... he had a big house, and it was empty AF.
So, I'm going to tie this story in a little bit to the Mar-A-Lago raid. There is some theory, and I believe some legitimacy to the theory, that part of the reason this whole thing is happening with Mar-A-Lago, as we know from the history of these of this particular insidious enemy, is they need a distraction when bad news is imminent. And, well, that midterm election ain't so far away. And one of the things that the Biden regime just is terrified that you'll remember come the midterms, assuming you can get enough gas in your car to drive there and vote. Maybe that's the whole plan. They're just going to try to suppress the vote by making people poor. Nope, because it's the poor people that won't be able to vote.
Dude, apparently it's the everybody that won't be able to vote.
Well, I mean, let's be perfectly fair. They're just going to fill up a tour bus and drive around in the ghettos with a bucket of fried chicken. That's not me being racist, by the way.
No, that's the thing that's
they
actually
no
happened.
Shit do this. I've seen it. Anyway, So, White House drafts memo defending Afghanistan withdrawal. That's right. They are defending the Afghan withdrawal. How many people died? How many people fell off a plane? How many American citizens were left stranded in a terrorist-occupied country? How many local nationals did we make work deals with that included some sort of residency, some sort of green card or permanent alien status as a compensation for it? A spokesperson for President Biden's National Security Council drafted a memo this week defending the administration's withdrawal from Afghanistan, writing that the president refused to send another generation of Americans to fight a war that should have ended long ago, according to a copy of the document obtained by Fox News Digital. And
those are words way too pretty for Joe Biden to have written them.
Agreed. And I'll grant him this. Yes, that war should have ended long ago. It should have ended while I was there. But Barack Obama was the president, Joe Biden was the vice president, and we weren't allowed to return fire if there was a fruit tree in the general vicinity because it might harm the local economy. We had soldiers out there who were being ordered by Barack Obama to pass out cash to local nationals in the Cash for Work program. And we knew literally what was happening is they would come to the base, we would hand them a shovel, they would go away, not do anything. And when I say not do anything, I mean I personally watched them on surveillance drones and video cameras go and sit in the shade near the river and drink tea and read books for 8 consecutive hours, pausing only to take a meal that was brought to them by their wives. And then they would come back at the end of the day, return our tools, and collect cash, which they then turned over to Taliban operators to buy parts to build bombs.
Well, be fair, some of it went into the opium trade.
No, actually, that all went into buying bombs.
Damn it! Sometimes you can just let the joke land.
I can't let that one land. They were growing their own opium where I was. They were buying bombs with that money. So you're right. Yeah, he's right. That war should have ended at least 10 years earlier, and it didn't because we had a coward in the White House that would not pull triggers. The war in Afghanistan drew out for as long as it did because the American politician does not understand. And this is a generous assumption. This is a generous interpretation, a very generous interpretation. I think it's more likely that it went on as long as it did because it was profitable to their donor class. But the way that it was drawn out was the refusal to actually conduct war. When you're going to fight a war, you go in, you destroy the enemy, and you leave. You win now, or you stay forever. War is not a game of temperance and patience. War is a game of death and destruction, and it needs to happen immediately. And the longer you draw it out, the more people will die.
Yeah, the military's job is to hurt people and break things.
You have to conduct enough rapid violence early enough in the war to break the spirit of the enemy and end the fighting. Otherwise, all you're going to do is exacerbate the casualties.
Look, Obama loved playing this. For a long time, I've had the opinion that Obama loved playing this political game. His ego was such that he didn't actually want the war to be lost on his watch. Because let's remember, Obama increased the shit out of drone strikes,
right,
which are honestly pretty effective tools.
Like, that doesn't sound anything like LBJ.
Like, kill the hell out of some bad guys with some drone strikes. However, because of the nature of drone strikes, you're just not going to see a lot of footage of that on the news, are you? It's almost like Obama wanted to have his cake and eat it too.
Indeed.
No problem making you look like a chump. But he could just push that button on his desk and
And send a drone strike overseas to kill American citizens on more than one occasion.
Which is a thing that's not an exaggeration.
Nope.
Mohammed bin, oh my God, I'm blanking on the guy's name. And it was
Bin
right.
Salman?
No. Anwar al-Awlaki. That's
yeah,
it.
that
Yeah,
one too.
that guy, bad dude. Okay, not a nice man, but he was an American citizen, and we just kind of murdered him.
Yep.
So if you don't think the federal government will murder you for having the wrong think, I'd say ask Anwar al-Awlaki, but
We can't, because he had the wrong think and was subsequently murdered it.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, 1 year, I'd prefer not to discuss 1 year ago.
I understand. Ooh, and that reminds me, quite without additional comment or reference, that we're halfway through the month of August, which means we're about 15 days away from Dave Rubin coming back and being told what happened while he was gone. And guys, I look forward to that show every year now, because holy crap.
So my favorite one is still when he's sitting there with Glenn Beck, and Glenn Beck's like, yeah, so wouldn't it be funny if I told you that we arrested Jeffrey Epstein and then he committed suicide
Yes.
in his cell? And Dave Rubin's going, yeah, that would be hilarious. And then Glenn Beck's, yeah, but that actually happened. And Dave Rubin goes, shut the fuck up.
One of my favorite moments in YouTube.
Carolina Auditor says, and maybe this is a good spot to end on, I don't like the fact that a judge can override a president and we can't do much about it. I'm discouraged. Broadly, try not to be discouraged. And this is actually an internal fight that I've even got with some of our closest supporters of the channel. I actively resist all black pills, and I resist the black pill because the enemy, the communist, it's been a part of their playbook for at least a century now. They want you black pilled. They want you demoralized. They don't have to cheat. They don't have to oppress. They don't have to try if you stop trying. So actively resist the black pill. Now, specifically with this situation, a judge being able to override the president, that's a thing that happens. It has happened almost since the beginning of this country. There is a deliberate push-pull between the branches of government, and that's a feature, not a bug. Now, specifically with regard to Trump, please believe what the FBI did was guarantee the red wave in about 90 days. And I'd say that at this point, they've at least given a 60-40 chance that Trump comes back and has a 35-40 state victory, maybe even 45 state victory in 2024. And because there are so many people that think, good Lord, I've got no choice but to support him now. And that's not just an emotional reaction. There is an intellectual undergird to why people say that, okay? And this is important. Again, man, I'm just talking about Papa Sheepdog a lot this morning. But Papa Sheepdog used to tell me something along the lines of, you show me the friends you've been hanging out with, and I can tell you what you did that day. And as I got older, I realized that, yeah, it's funny. And as I got older, I realized that came from a line of thinking that goes like this. You can measure the quality of a man by the nature of his friends and the nature of his enemies. It's not just a visceral emotional reaction that you have to say, man, Trump's getting screwed. I got to have his back. Like, kapla, loyalty, right? No.
If everybody that hates your buddy are a bunch of, kitty-sniffing, pedophile, Chinese agent traders,
then your buddy's clearly done something right.
Yep.
And that's what it is with Trump. Be like, man, the system that we all know and agree is corrupt AF is just bound and determined to screw Donald Trump over. Okay, he's done something right. So please, try very hard not to get discouraged. I am actually coming to the opinion of this is a white pill moment. They've gone too far. There is a point in any contest where you have to expose yourself to advance. And somehow the left miscalculated this one terribly. Because little boy who cried wolf. At this point, Trump could actually be guilty. And how many people would believe it?
Right.
How many people? No.
84 million.
I don't even think that. Let me say it
Would
this
be
way.
reported to have believed it.
Okay, there we go. I was going to say, I don't think that there would be exactly 84 million people that would believe
it would be 84 million Americans believed that Trump was guilty, according to polls.
If they fortified the raid on his house, if they fortified Melania's panty drawer,
Yeah.
if they fortified the toilets in Mar-A-Lago, good Lord, that all by itself could get run into the dirt. All right, anything else? Because
I imagine those toilets are already fortified. Trump's a big boy.
Ew.
I've broken things I was sitting on. It's not pleasant. And with that, y'all be safe. We love you. Thanks for watching.
What a
click
shitty
the
note
link
to end
down.
on.
Click the link down below and buy us a coffee. And we will see you tomorrow. Ooh, watch this.